Hello everybody and welcome to this training session. Today I will introduce you a new module inside the apps that is called the Advanced Bookings module. It aims mainly to answer this question: how has my portfolio evolved over time? Of course, we already have a module inside the apps that's called the booking pace that lets you select an interval and see exactly day by day how your pickups have evolved and how your RPD has evolved. But this is a very specific module. The new Advanced Bookings module aims to give you a more global and comprehensive view of your portfolio buildup, allowing you to see at a glance potential periods of optimization. It's a great analytical tool to understand the past in order to prepare better the future. This new module is located inside the Bookings menu and is called Advanced Bookings. By default, you arrive on a view that contains the past 3 months and in that case, the next 30 days. Why? Because we have split the data by 7-day step. Let's look a little bit more into the details. For this Friday, 28th of January, we show in pink, like in all bookings module, the fleet line. In black, you have the current on rent, which in the past is the final level of on rent. And then, because we are in a tab that shows 7-day steps, in the same color as the new bookings module that I hope you look at regularly, we show you the level of on rent 7 days before the 28th of Jan, 14 days, 21 days, and 28 days. So you can see that a month before the checkout date of the 28th, there were 443 on rent in the portfolio, which amounted to 39% utilization. And over time, you have the pickup have evolved and the portfolio has grown. And you have the exact values for all the days in the default views. You can also look at the 30-day step, which will then compute the same for the same interval, the amount of portfolio. But now let's go back to 28, 30 days before, 60, 90, and 120 days. So you can really choose the granularity that you want in order to see the evolution of the portfolio. And last, you can also look at the evolution of portfolio on a very short term and see how it has evolved for the 28th of January, 1 day before, 2 days, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. So you adjust the level of granularity to your needs. This is a bookings module. You have access to all the usual filters and you can choose to look at the period that you want. Let's go back to the 7 days view, for example, and see and look at last year. So here you have all the 2021 year, and you can see at a glance how the period where your portfolio has grown very quickly and the periods where, like in August, let's look at the 1st of August. It shows that 28 days before the departure date, there were already 53% utilization, and this particular account finished at 81% utilization. So 1 month before the departure date, the portfolio was already quite full. Whereas in low season, like March, 28 days before the departure date, the portfolio is at 27%, and it builds up until 67%. So you have a global view on how the portfolio has built over time. So now let's look at some options that we have. The first option is to look at the absolute level of on-rent compared to the normalized level of on-rent. What is the normalized level of on-rent? It means that we will always look and compare to the final level of on-rent. So the current on-rent will always be 100% because it's the final level that we know. And we display how much compared to the final level of on-rent we had at each step in the past. So again, if we look at August, we can see that 28 days before the departure date, we already have 66% of the final value. So a lot of activity in the portfolio a month before the departure date. Whereas in the low season example that we took earlier, 28 days before departure date, we had only 39% of the portfolio. So it helps reduce the difference between the high activity and the low activity of high and low season, and really compare to the final level of on-rent. The second trigger allows you to see the RPD on the book for each given period. Of course, it adds a lot of data to the graph, but still, visually, you can see how your RPD has evolved also over time. So here we can see that 28 days before departure date, we had a RPD of 46 euro. And at each step, as we grow closer to the departure date, the RPD grows higher and higher, which I think is a good sign. But what we can see, for example, in August, let's take again the 1st of August, is that we begin with a RPD of 48 euros because 28 days before, and we managed to add 7 euro to the RPD. So we have grown a little bit. Why? Because 28 days before we had already sold quite a lot of cars, and there was a little room to sell at a higher price. Whereas in other periods, at the end of August, where we began at a 43% utilization, we managed to add 10 euros RPDs during 28 days because we had more room, more cars to sell at a higher price. So this is a hint of a possible optimization for next year or this year. Try not to sell as much cars quickly to give room for the last minute pickups to be sold at a better price. Of course, everybody will be able to analyze according to his strategy. Maybe this was the goal and it was achieved. So again, this shows data and you can analyze whether the planning was according to your strategy or did the build-up of the portfolio go in another direction. This is an analytical tool. But if we go back to the auto view, we can see also in the near future how the portfolio is building. For example, on the 30th of March, I can see that 28 days before I was at 33 utilization for RPD of 45 euros, and that my RPD is growing, and that at each step of time I increase my bookings. So everything seems to go well according to my strategy. Last option to toggle is to aggregate the data at a week. So by default, it's at a daily level, like on any booking graph. And I can also aggregate at a weekly level or at a monthly level. So this helps smooth out the variance of the day-by-day graph when there is the pattern or the weekly pattern that can vary a lot between weekends or weekdays according to business or leisure activity. So with a weekly and monthly view, you can have a clearer view of how the patterns evolve. I think the monthly view can be quite efficient on the scale of a whole year, giving you a better perspective of how the portfolio behaves according to the different months of the year. Like the new bookings module, you also have a second graph that helps you compare this year with your reference year for each steps of the chosen interval. So here we are still on the 7-day step. So let's look at the last 7 days for last year's 21st of September. Again, we have a lot of information. We have the on-the-book value, so 7 days before, the on-rent value, which is the dark blue. We have the comparison of last year's on-the-book values 7 days before, and those are compared with the final level of on-rent. So the thick black line is the current on-rent, and the dotted black line is the reference year on-rent. And again, we also let you compare the RPD of you had 7 days before the checkout date with the reference year's RPD 7 days before the checkout date. And you can look at the evolution of portfolio 14 days, 21 days, and 28 days before, and compare the build-up of the portfolio on the current year and on the reference year. You can play the cinematic of how the portfolio on each period, the peaks are creating sooner this year and last year, and how the RPD is evolving. That's all for today. I hope you find an interest in this new module. Dive in the data, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to write to support so that we can help you understand better how to use this module. Have a great day.